places to get to Africa, checking back on the newspapers, checking back on what was happening on the island, and reading about the division, and reading about the tribalism, and reading about the contentious issues surrounding Hurricane Melissa relief. It grieved our hearts and it made us ashamed. The contentiousness that we are transmitting and transferring and translating and just sending into the universe. It not look good, it not sound good. I think we are in our silos and we are in our little areas where we lock ourselves down in our tribalism. We lock ourselves tight inside of our tribalism, and so we do not understand or are not aware, not cognizant of how this is translating in the international world or the international stage, places where people are putting on concerts to send hurricane relief to Jamaica. Places like Sierra Leone, for example, where a concert planned from last year happened just a few, the hurricane happened just a few days before the concert, and they changed everything. Sierra Leone, which is a country that's struggling, nowhere near Jamaica in terms of development, but they decided before we even got there, 20% of all the proceeds of their events would go to hurricane relief in Jamaica. But at the same time, you're in Sierra Leone reading about all that's happening on the island. And that is not to say that people aren't consciously aware that you'll have all kinds of challenges in the aftermath of such a vicious, violent disaster. People expect that there'll be challenges. Where there was a problem for me traveling across the world, and we went many places to get to Sierra Leone, was to read about what was happening here on the ground. The infighting, the incestuous infighting, the tribalism. And this is what we're sending to the world. Let us stop it. Don't sound good, don't look good, and it's not even good for any of us. I'll come back to that another time. But to say, once again, thank you so much. We had a brilliant time in Sierra Leone. To you, our listener, thank you so much who join us faithfully every Sunday morning. Thank you for tuning in, for keeping your radios and your telephones and your phones and your computers and however you're listening to us, your apps. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience during my absence. You see that? No, your patience during my absence. No, stop it. Right. But for your continued engagement and for being the heartbeat of this program, because that is what it is at the end of the day. You are the heartbeat of the program. The Africa Forum is what it is because you remain present, questioning, thinking, and building all the time. We come forward back with renewed purpose, new reflections from the continent, and a deeper dedication to work ahead. Let us begin. So let's take this from the top again, because this is a message. It's all that was in my head as I was returning home. How are you doing? I know we're trying to come back and come forward from a devastating hurricane, and I know so many of us are still struggling, still without electricity, still without water in some places, still without your homes, still without a roof over your head, still in shelters, still struggling to find food, warm food. I know that. And so we're not ignoring that, but we're just coming forward from the continent and thought, let's have a little chat about that. We know, for example, that there are places right now where people feel, because we're getting the calls, right, that your needs are not being met. And we can see that for ourselves. And this is taking a while. One of the things that I'm really concerned about is the mental health of Jamaica. That's my greatest concern right now. We've been through so much, and here we are again. So I'm really concerned about that. Take care of each other, look out for each other, and remember to take care of yourself and then take care of others. We're seeing a lot of disasters, climate-related disasters in recent times. The frequency and the widespread distribution of these disasters have virtually been daily headline news. In Ethiopia, we're just hearing, and I spoke about this last week, a volcano that has not erupted in our time. In other words, in our civilization time, 12,000 years, erupted just a few days ago. And as it did, another volcano, synchronicity, quantum entanglement. They say you can't talk about quantum entanglement when you're talking about things like volcanoes, because it can be explained by the science itself without going all the way to quantum entanglement. But this is quite something. In Indonesia, that volcano that erupted in Ethiopia and the one that erupted in Indonesia, we have to have a conversation about that. And then it goes all the way back to, we're talking about these disasters that we see happening around us. Melissa impacting Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, and similar storms, what they call them cyclones, monsoon, rains, ravaging South and Southeast Asia. We have Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam. So we have a worldwide phenomenon, much more than wars. And these are rendering populations dependent on central governments. And this sets a stage for exactly what we've been talking about, exactly what they have been telling us that they're going to be doing. Global direct protocols and intervention, including the global reset. And so the global reset is happening, and you can't do anything about it because you are devastated, and you have to accept what it is that is coming your way, and I understand it. So here we are. The road to recovery cannot be uniformed. Cannot be uniformed. In large-scale disasters, the impact of injuries will be diverse. The capacities of individuals and communities and cultures varies and variable. And this sets a stage where the official response, despite their best efforts, will invariably be inequitable and in many cases inadequate. And this is what we're facing here on the island. Calculated timelines and expectations to achieve normalcy are most likely to be wrong. And that creates a window of vulnerability. Window of vulnerability through which a high percentage of populations will fall. We find ourselves in that situation right now. What is even worse, that in the name of efficiency, we'll get such populations being labeled, and categorized as being socially inept or lacking resilience, because that's the word now, resilience, right? And then we find ourselves triaged into what is salvageable or irredeemable, and that will be our status. Bearing in mind, bearing in mind that the disasters, the groundwork to build back better and smarter. The incalcitrants would likely be sectioned to exclusion zones for control and monitoring. Read 1984. But if you don't want to read 1984, read the UN document that talks about one world health order. One world health order. Read Project 2025. Because we are here. We're in the middle of it. And so this is why we're setting the stage that the disasters are not just... So yes, Melissa is something that we've never seen before. And why? That's another question. We have promised to delve into that later on. But here we are. And if Jamaica is devastated, you're talking about the strongest country in the Caribbean in terms of its people, first and foremost, and the ability of its people to stand in their spaces, to never be enslaved again. This is where Rastafari was the first and only indigenous response to enslavement and slavery of the mind or the body. You get the point I'm making? This is where Letitia Gohegan, walking with the protesters from Stony Gut to Morant Bay, led by Baba Paul Bogle, threw the first stone. This is where bookman duty come from. Or bookman duty. In Haiti they say duty, so we'll work with it. You understand? This is where Chief Tetchi burnt plantations from St. Mary to Westmoreland and crossed again for freedom. This is where Queen Nanny come from. This is where Sam Sharp walked from Catadupa through to Retrieve and further down and led the wars for emancipation. So the global reset, which includes the armada in the Caribbean water, the military, the largest military armada in any body of ocean since the Iraq War, is now in the Caribbean waters. And Jamaica is devastated and decimated by a hurricane. So we're in the middle of a global reset. You want to connect them, you connect them. You don't want to connect them, do not connect them. But everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Not everybody walking around looking like us are us. Not everybody walking around looking like us are one away. Because you've got people, you've got things in human flesh possessing the bodies of human beings and carrying out the work. East. I want you to read this book if you can get your hand on it. You know, we talk about 1984 a lot, but just as an aside, if you can get your hands on Demonology, which is a book written by King James I, the same King James I who had the Bible translated. You have to understand, King James, I promise you that I will take an entire month, and that entire month will be on King James I alone. If you want me to do that, please let me know. Find some way to tell me, right? Let me know if you want me to spend an entire month, which will be 4 or 5 Sundays, just looking at the person, because historically he existed. He's just the other day born and died. and his entire family, so we can do that. We can also pass out the reason why he wanted the Bible to be translated. There were many Bibles before the King James Bible, but he needed to translate the Bible because he needed to prove, not just to prove, but to ensure that it was set in stone that the voice of the king was the voice of God, that he was vicarious filii die or vicarious filii dei. You take it in the way you want it. So we can have those conversations. We also want to talk about why he was so paranoid, why he had to, why all the new, the new entries that he ensured were made to the Bible, the King James Bible, where so many of them were about demonology, demons, witchcraft, necromancy. This is King James. A lot of this is not in the other Bibles. A lot of this is not in the Bibles before King James. There's a reason why he had to do that, because of his own personality, his own fears, his own insecurities, and the fact that this was also another way to control. So if you want me to, and I know I've gone off tangent a little bit, but if you want me to, I will have that conversation. But in demonology, he writes about how people become other than people. He talks about the person who, three types of people. One who is hurt as a child and goes off into silent meditation and is approached by evil. And then one who is curious beyond curiosity and goes off into that silent meditation and invites that element of evil. And then another one who, let me see if I can remember the third one, but in any case, three different types of people who are among us as a result of their own interactions with the other, which is evil. Now, this is where I agree with him, not necessarily on how it happens. But if there is good, then there is the opposite of good. And when you name the opposite of good, and you see the opposite of good in people, then may I talk about. Okay. Righto. So here we are. We're in the middle of the global reset, and we can hardly do anything about it. The Clintons came in while we were in Africa. I saw that. And I said, we have done so many programs here. I mean, scores of programs, many programs on the Clinton Foundation. And all of it legit and legal and highly researched. That we have done so many programs on the Clinton Foundation. As a matter of fact, as we speak, I think it is, there's a whole lot of conversation in the United States around the Clinton Foundation. All you have to do is Google. But you don't have to go so far. All you have to do is go to Haiti. And so it makes me wonder. I felt deflated. I felt disappointed. I felt as if, what is it all for? What is it all for? At 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, December 7, I'm feeling that feeling again, to say, what has it been for all for? If we do not educate ourselves, we're bound to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. So I don't have much to say because I've said a whole lot over many years. But I'd like to say one thing to Madame Babsy Grange. One thing. And I said that to her 2 or 3 years ago at Civil Heritage Park at the Jubilee. I said that to her, the ancestral celebration. Because they had invited to Jamaica the president of Rwanda. When so many journalists were being imprisoned, so many lawyers were being imprisoned, when M23 was wreaking havoc against Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, when Uganda and all of them were slaughtering people on the continent of Africa, and it seems as if the Jamaican government knew nothing about it, or they knew and turned a blind eye because Britain was coddling Rwanda and Kigali and Kagame. I said to her and to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kamina Johnson-Smith, at the time, I said, we applaud the vision that Jamaica has to bring Africa to Jamaica through presidents and culture and all of that. But why go for the strong men? Why don't look across Africa? Look at those who we can emulate, those who are not guilty of war crimes against their people, those who are not guilty of genocide against Africans like Kagame is guilty. And they stared at me and didn't answer. But this is what I said to them, and I said that to them on air because I was broadcasting live. Now, so if we have to be saying this to the people who are entrusted to ensure that we are not propping up anything that has even the appearance of corruption. I know you're going to laugh and all of that, so I need to stop talking. But here's the thing. I have the same thing to say right now to Madame Grange, which is, on this, as on Kagame, you're making a mistake. And the only consequence of that is something we won't see right now, but it will be another Haiti. And I say another Haiti because this is what they have done to Haiti. Haiti is being punished over and over and over and over again for being the liberator of Africans, the leaders in that. But along the way, we've had people who come into Haiti and have destroyed the economy, enslave the people, have them working for slave wages or none, collect monies in their names, hurricane after hurricane, earthquake after earthquake, and not turning it over. This information is readily available. It is not hard to find. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And it tells me, though, there's something that we are losing sight of. And I'm going to ask us, even as we try to recover from this vicious disaster that has trampled us into silence and so many things, I'm going to ask us to pay attention. They've said to us about 4 months or 5 months ago, if so much, that they're going to turn Treasure Beach into a Martha's Vineyard. You know what Martha's Vineyard is, right? So that they have said to us, all right? They have also said to us that they are going to be building out smart cities. Smart cities, you can go read 1984 to know what that is. That is surveillance cities. That is 100% surveillance. That is lack of freedom. That is enslavement. We have some of those going on now across the world. Some of those cities are being built out. This is inevitable. This is inevitable. But we must have a say in what's happening on the ground in this country. We must have a say. Because at the end of the day, we are fodder for capitalism. We are fodder for technocracy. We are fodder for transhumanism. And don't feel no way when we say this, because Elon Musk has a plan. And that plan includes Starlink and SpaceX. And he has not hidden from us any of that plan. I'm saying a lot of what we're going through is inevitable. We're going to call for it. This disaster, Melissa, is ensuring that we ourselves call for the tools of our enslavement. The cost of recovery could well come at the expense of our sovereignty, at the expense of our identity, at the expense of our agency. So what is the answer? Goodness gracious me, I do not have it. I do not have it. But I am reflecting on it. How do we overcome that which is already here? I always say, at the end of the day, land security, food security, agriculture, land, water. Because that, at the end of the day, is the basic of it. That, at the end of the day, is it. Right? Because this is where the independence is going to come from. And now we're seeing quite a few ads. We're seeing quite a few ads out there now asking for people who want to work with real estate developers or real estate companies or law firms or whoever you're working with at whatever agencies to identify land. Connected right back to this disaster, you know. I want to reiterate again. I want to underscore, to reiterate, and to say it many, many times again. Do not sell your land. This is not a time to sell your land. They've got a plan. Hold on to your land. Your house up on your land and it mash up. You sit on, I don't know how to say this, but make sure you guard your land. I know that there are plans in place. We asked Bobby Montague to come on this morning to talk about that whole land titling situation that he's been tasked with. His assistant, etc., he can't make it to talk today. I don't know when he will, but hopefully he will. We have reached out to an attorney who we see writing about this. He confirmed, but because of an engagement that's clashing, we're not able to talk to attorney Benjamin Fraser, who has written an article in the very same vein that we're talking about, which is to say, do not sell your land, obviously coming from a legal perspective. But this is a time when land is going to be critical. Your access to water is going to be critical. Do not let them in this period block you off from access to the sea. Access to the fresh water. Because there's such a thing as disaster capitalism. And believe me, we see the Junko them already come down, and it's not the Junko that my colleague and a brilliant journalist talked about the other day. Zara Burton, one of the most brilliant journalists that we have in Jamaica. Anyway, that's an aside. But just to say, you know, when Jamaica say Junko, we're talking about scavengers. The scavengers are here. And they want access. They want your land. They want your water. They want your fresh water. They want your seawater. Because they understand the game. They understand the game, and you are suffering. And why is your suffering being dragged out so long? Why is the suffering of the poor being dragged out so long? Professor Rosalie Hamilton has written an excellent article. We've been talking about that in this space also. It's a few days ago. I think it was that been last week Sunday that was published, or the Sunday before, talking about this whole business of centralization, central government, and how it there needs in the conversations on constitutional reform that there has to be a change to how government is set up in Jamaica, in that everything is central government, and so people in the parishes, councillors and mayors and members of parliament do not necessarily have the power to assist in times like this, so that there has to be a deregulation in a way of the way central government functions. And I agree with her, because we've been saying that very same thing in this space, which is to say, we have conversations with mayors who have said, we haven't heard anything from anyone. Now, we have a cascade that is on the international stage, right? Where the Prime Minister is answering the minister, the opposition leader, where the Maroons in our compound are having well, that is another contentious issue with the Prime Minister and the JDF, and where there is a PNP and JLP situation that is vulgar and beneath us as human beings, first of all. So my thing is to stop it, but also to say to us, we the people, that we are going through what we are going through, and we're about to lose our land, and we're about to lose our homes, and we're about to lose access to our waters. There's also another situation because agriculture is decimated. I don't know what we are carrying in. What kinds of scrutiny are in place to ensure that the fruits and all these things that are about to come in are coming in already, are not coming from Bill Gates and his friends, because they are making those with all kinds of material. I don't know if it is human cells or whatever they're using to make meat. You understand what I'm saying? But there's a lot out there for us to be wary of. So Jamaica finds itself in a position where we ourselves are about to beg for the tools of our destruction, of our enslavement, of a loss of sovereignty, of a loss of identity, and enslaved to digital technocracy and digital enslavement and smart cities and Martha's Vineyards. This is where we are. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Do you have the answer? We sit a play. We sit a play, and I know it's like deers trapped in headlights or a frog. You know, when frog, you ever see frog trapped in a headlight? This is our situation right now. It's our situation. We're using the words where them I use. We are waiting for them to come. You know, it is. Here we are. We are at a crossroads. We must look at this and we must answer the question. Where do we go from here? What do we want? What kind of a future for Jamaica do we envision? What are they doing? Who are they making deals with right now? See there? We're gonna IMF in a serious way already, you know. This thing, the backlash on us, is gonna be something that we're ill prepared for. Unless we can stymie the drive into technocracy and transhumanism and disaster capitalism. In other words, we have to be looking out for ourselves, our sovereignty, our dignity, our identity. That's basically what I'm saying. And what does that mean? First of all, I say to you, do not sell your land. Don't sell your land. Use bamboo, banana, tash, whatever you build something upon it, and don't sell your land. And secondly, watch what you're eating. I know, but watch what you're eating. And make sure you've got access to the same river them, the same sea, the same beach. Or you're going to look around and Martha's Vineyards will be springing up all around you, and you are the slave that they have identified for this. This is what happened in Haiti. Who ran the sweatshops in Haiti? Who ran that? Go and look up the Clinton Foundation, but also Bill and Hillary Clinton in Haiti, and say to Jamaica, say to Madam Babs Grange and the Prime Minister and the friends of the Clintons in Jamaica, because a friend think I will see it, who have come in as disaster capitalists to feed off the flesh from the bones of the dying Jamaican people. 1-1 Cocoa Relief Drive. People in affected areas urgently need rice, flour, sugar, cornmeal, non-perishable food items, oats, crackers, etc., canned food such as sardines, mackerel, etc., tarpaulin, solar lights, battery or solar-powered radios. Personal hygiene products are also welcomed. You can drop your donation here at IRFM Coconut Grove, St. Anne, or 1B Courtney Walsh Drive in Kingston. We will get your donation to those who need it. A small donation from you will make a big impact on someone's life. The IRFM 1-1 Cocoa Relief Drive. Let's get Jamaica back on its feet quickly and make things Irish still. We do not need any more clothes. We're going to underscore that. We do not need any more clothes. And a special shout out to some of our donors. David James, otherwise known as Froggy, One Wood Boss. Hey Froggy, how you do? Irie Mumma, Walker Cousins, Iris Spring Water, Kimmy the Crocs Goddess, Althea Hewitt, Jamaica Funk Production, Claude Evans. So just remember to give generously to IRFM 1-1 Cocoa Relief Drive. And just quickly to say what people are in affected areas need urgently. This is what they're feedbacking to us, or feeding back to us. Rice, flour, sugar, cornmeal, non-perishable food items, oats, crackers, etc., canned food, sardines, mackerel, and so on, tarpaulin, solar lights, battery or solar-powered radios. Personal hygiene products are also welcomed. So we told you earlier that there was an ongoing coup in Benin, but in the last hour, that coup seems to have been foiled because Benin's interior minister is now appearing on national TV and has announced that an attempted coup in the West African nation has been thwarted. Earlier, a group of soldiers led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri had made a broadcast saying they had ousted President Patrice Talon and suspended the constitution. In social media posts from the French embassy in Benin, we heard that gunfire had been reported near the residence of the president in the main city of Cotonou, which is a seat of government. Eyewitnesses told the BBC that they had heard gunshots, and some journalists working for the state broadcaster were held hostage. A presidential advisor has since told the BBC that the president is safe and he's at the French embassy. And they're quoting the Interior Minister, Alassane Seydoux, who said early on Sunday morning, December 7, 2025, a small group of soldiers launched a mutiny aimed at destabilizing the state and its institutions. Faced with this situation, the Beninese armed forces and their leadership, true to their oath, remained committed to the republic. Their response allowed them to retain control of the situation and foiled the attempt. The government therefore urges the population to go about their activities as normal. The BBC says helicopters have been flying over Cotonou and roads are blocked with a heavy military presence on several streets in the city. From Benin, this morning, around about 2 o'clock, sometime after 2, we started seeing the reports coming in that there was a coup underway. Later on, by about 3:30, 4 o'clock, that is Jamaica time, we saw the other information coming in that, the coup had succeeded, the president had, fled and all of that. But now the reporting from the BBC and from the Interior Minister, who was appeared on national TV there, is that the coup in Benin has been thwarted. Reported from Sierra Leone last week that there was a coup just next door to Sierra Leone in Guinea-Bissau, and that is still happening. That has happened, and they're downplaying that, but a coup happened in Guinea-Bissau. I'm not quite sure what the outcome is going to be. I know that we saw ministers from ECOWAS and from different places heading to Guinea, that's next door to Guinea-Bissau. And that they were holding all kinds of meetings and so on. But as far as I know, and as far as we can tell, the process is what it is. A coup took place there, and that is the status quo for right now in Guinea-Bissau. Going to be there, or him going to be, he's the one who's going to do the door of no return this year. Or Mazola said that he'll come and do so and so. And Mazola is always part of Forcenting and a very close friend of Sister P. I haven't had a chance to talk to Sister P yet, but our deepest condolences to the family, the friends, the community of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth, our Kenyan brothers and sisters who are on the island here in Jamaica. Our deepest condolences to you. The latest that you might have heard that Mazola was shot and killed here in Jamaica. Is a Kenyan artist and has been based in Jamaica for many years. A really good artist. If you know him, you know his work. If you don't, you probably see his work and don't even know that it's him. But so we understand that police are now, they say they're on the hunt for the murderers who took the life of this international artist in Treasure Beach. He's from Kenya, of course. We understand that his maternal grandmother was from Malawi. So it's from Malawi to Kenya and to Jamaica. And he's been here for a while. He's been part of the community. He's been a friend and a brother. And they snuffed his life out. They shot him and killed him. And this happened in Jamaica, in Treasure Beach. It is a very sad day for all of us. Our hearts are grieving for our brother. This is something that we haven't even had time to come to terms with this yet. It's like you're reading it and it is so. It's like it's not him. You know, you want to call somebody to say, is it really him? Or, it's just one of those things that don't really hit home yet. In a robbery, we understand. There's someone else who was in the home who was also shot. We heard that person is hospitalized, am I right? But, get well soon, and our hearts with you. Our deepest condolences to our Kenyan family, to his family here on the island in Jamaica, and to his friends. Mazola. This is something, this is something that really hurts. All right, so while we grieve for our family and friends, let us remember to look out for each other. Let us stop. There's something that's happening here on the island. I suppose when you go out for a while and you come back in, or when you're outside of the island just testing the temperature of what's happening on the island, that it becomes so distasteful and revolting, which is just the hatred. And you have to call it hatred. Jamaican people say we love each other. But apart from when it comes to politics, or apart from when it's somebody bad mind, when do we really love each other? Because the kind of cascas and the vitriol and the violence in language that's coming out of the belly of Jamaica in the midst of this disaster and trying to get out of this disaster. How we end up a cuss each other so? How we end up make this into a JLP, PNP thing? How did we get here? How come I yes, so we there? And there has to be leadership. There has to be leadership on this. Those in leadership positions have to take the high road. You have to set the example because people are following your lead. I don't know what this is. We're heading a spin. We out here trying to put on back a roof. I for get rid of mold. I for find a place to lay our head and wish what we're going to get something for feed the picnic tomorrow morning or not even tomorrow morning, but right now. You've got our heads in a spin because you've turned this into political tribalism. You've turned this into something that is unbecoming of human beings. And so there has to be leadership on this. So the question I ask, who is going to lead the process for unity during this period? Who is going to take charge of that process? Somebody has to do it. It can't go along so. It can't continue like this. We cannot see constituencies in hurricane relief. There is no border, no boundary, no constituency, only people, human beings. We cannot see JLP or PNP. We must not see political party while we try to put our roofs back on, to find a place to lay our heads. Somebody has to lead this process, be the bigger woman or the bigger man. It has to come from somewhere, but everybody lock into a paradigm. And this is why, even though I haven't said it in a while, I consider that place at Gordon House a synagogue of Satan. Because if not one person from inside DESO can come out and say, stop it. Anyone could have come out and say, stop it. It would have make a good news story and it would have appeal to people and it have legs, it would roll. I don't know how we are all so angry. And this has to do with money, you know. This is all about money. This is about money. It's money them fighting over. They're fighting over the money. That is the bottom line. The love of money is the root of all evil. I don't even have no song to back it up, but anyway. Let me just go with this. And to the team that you've got, because this is phenomenal. It's professionalism at the highest level. I don't know if anything went on the background, but all we can say up front, highest levels of professionalism, Prof. So congratulations to you and the team.
Yes, thank you so much. And, to you and everyone who made the trip, it was really very special. So thank you for being a part of it.
Yes, enjoy that. All right, so let us kind of look back a bit to remind ourselves of how this trip came about and why we were in Sierra Leone.
Ever since the consulate was established in 2023, the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone has been keen on deepening relationship between Sierra Leone and Jamaica, and by extension, the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And so, when they opened, the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs came to Jamaica with the ambassador, who's based in Washington, D.C., and they came with that spirit of oneness, that we're one, we're connected by our history, by our culture, and they wanted to, deepen that understanding of who we are and open the possibilities and the opportunities for trade and investment ultimately. Mm-hmm. So the die was cast then,
Yes.
that's a framework in which all of this has happened.
Right.
Earlier this year, part of the work that I did was to reconnect and commemorate this whole visit to Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. Part of the journey of Jamaicans, the Maroons leaving, and was tricked, in fact, into leaving Jamaica. Put on a boat, got drunk, and were taken to Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. But that experience in Nova Scotia is phenomenal in and of itself.
Yes.
And what happened there, and so we went just to deepen our own understanding of what's happening, what happened there. Yes. And of course, they went on to Sierra Leone. So in fact, next year, we're hoping to do that tour again, because it really, really was very enlightening just to understand and hear that experience.
Yes, I agree with that, and just to our listeners, stand by and listen for the information as it comes out in terms of what next year's trip will look like to Sierra Leone. So that there is obviously the consulate is here. We had many discussions on that when you were appointed as honorary consul. So our listeners do know about that. In terms of the objectives, trade and connection and just that interaction, how much of that would you say was achieved in terms of looking at what happened throughout the period, the 2-week period in Sierra Leone?
Well, I think it's important to think about that trade not in the way people tend to think about physical trade in goods, but to very importantly think about the trade in services. Mm-hmm. And so the trade in, the fact that, Sierra Leoneans were prepared to spend money to buy our music and our musicians is what happened during the One Love, the One Nation
reggae concert. Festival, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So the Sierra Leoneans literally bought the tickets for the concerts, the music, the downloaded music, etc., etc. Yeah. So that definitely is part of this ultimate freedom. Yeah.
And you can't beat that really, because it's phenomenal the way reggae music carries Jamaica. It goes ahead of us, doesn't it? So that
absolutely,
it is
absolutely. And that's an important part of our global trade, music, entertainment services, and all related services that flows from that, There's also, of course, once we're physically there, we were buying Sierra Leone goods and services as well.
Coffee, if you stop, because you see, like how me never get a chance to buy much things. Me don't want people to think that me buy things, so me don't care not for nobody, I never get a chance, Pop. I never get a chance to come back to the market, Pop.
Well, I have to concede, I'm a jewelry junkie. So I did get a piece of jewelry.
And I think, I mean, we were there with you. You didn't buy much either. So stop
I did not buy much. I was about to say all I did was I got a piece of jewelry, 2 pieces of jewelry.
There was so much work. The schedule was so packed. Talk us through that. What that whole period entailed and some of the highlights.
Yeah, well, of course, we started with the launch, which was really a very special occasion where, we were able to just greet members of the government, and there were several members of the government there, and the chief minister was also there. And for those who don't understand the political and governmental structure in Sierra Leone, there is the president, but there's also a chief minister. And the chief minister is effectively the person who runs the government, so to speak, on a day-to-day basis. Whereas the president is more leader, the policy maker, the decision maker from that point of view. And of course, the chief minister himself was there, and he represented the president. We wanted to, there was an opportunity, small opportunity that we could have met the president, but it didn't materialize. It was in fact the day of that, was it an attempted coup? I think that's what it turned out
yes.
to be.
It was a coup, regardless of what they're calling it now, because it is, the status quo remains the same in terms of the president is gone. And
not sure.
In Guinea-Bissau, yes.
Yeah, so I think that maybe, I'm not sure what was the reason we didn't get a chance to meet. But so again, just reinforcing that this event was fully supported by the government. And I want to say it that way because although my understanding it is a private event, but that the government, the ministry in particular, had supported it at the highest level, because they felt that it was events like these that bring, these countries together. Sierra Leone, and people love reggae music, and that really was the glue.
Yes, and as much as you're breaking it down for us in terms of the government support of this private event, that if you didn't say that to me while I was there, I wouldn't even be consciously aware of that, because the support was overwhelming from government, and government was driving this to a very large extent. It's something that we can also learn from Sierra Leone. I'm not quite sure we're going to get the tribalism out of it, but it's something that we can learn. Just the way I saw even though this was their very first time, they have so much to learn from us. But just the strategy that they employ on this one, I think it's great.
Remember, I mean, if we look at our tourism industry, you see it a lot. I mean, at the highest levels of tourism, the government is very much involved, and they actually, lead some of the initiatives, to spearhead things, embrace the initiatives of the businesses. I think maybe at other levels it's not necessarily.
I talk like stage show. I was talking like the big stage show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not quite at the other levels, right? But clearly, to the extent that there's, for example, a support. For example, I know for many, many years, there are some stage shows that didn't get financial support. Over time, they eventually got. And, so there's financial support. But I think what you saw there was more than just financial support.
Yeah, it was presence.
Really, it was presence, embracing, and, really having a kind of, in full endorsement of the product.
Although maybe we see one of us said, why is the minister fronting up this thing?
Well, there's always that. What is the balance, what is that balance,
Look here, but I liked it. I liked the fact that, you could hardly tell, but that the private sector was totally in on this.
Yes.
All right, so that's a big thing. That was like the culmination, but so many other things happened, including the visit to the IT center, the visit to the university. Talk to us about some of those other.
One I'd love to talk about is that visit to the Peace Center.
Yes,
and that was a really phenomenal experience for me. First of all, I think that many persons may not be aware that in the International Court of Justice, when they do these cases of genocide and major human rights violation, that they set up subsidiary courts in relevant countries to continue the work of the court to ensure that their decisions are in fact executed. And so it was really interesting to see what was done in Sierra Leone, where after the Civil War, we're talking about 11 years of a civil war, and they had the trial, and people were arrested.
1991 to 2001, thereabouts.
Yes, exactly. That the court's mandate now is to ensure that the judgments of the court are being fully executed with all its parts, you know, appeals, etc., etc. But very importantly, one of the mandates of the court is to really build awareness of what happened. And so the establishment of the Peace Museum was really, really, really very touching and very enlightening, because you could see pictures that, let me say to the audience, were covered over, not just on a wall, because it was so graphic.
Yes.
You know, that
and just to give our listeners an idea of what we're talking about, because many would have watched the movie Blood Diamonds, and this is Sierra Leone, you know. When we talk about Blood Diamonds, this is Sierra Leone, and I think what they did was to conflate the civil war with that whole movies and how the mercenaries were involved. So they'll get so you have an idea of the kind of gruesome and this is real now. This is not a movie. Pictures that you're seeing in the museum.
Yes, for decapitated heads and really, very, very, very disturbing. And so I think for us it was a eye opener, because you know we complain a lot about what's happening in our country, and we ought to, because we are striving for better. Yes. But sometimes we must step back and look at what other countries have gone through.
Yes.
And I think it gave us a moment to pause. A country like Sierra Leone, very similar to us in many ways, as we're talking about history, culture, etc. But going through an experience that we've never quite gone through since our independence, which is, you know, a civil war. And that for many of us who really, you know, very comfortably discover we need a revolution here in Jamaica and so on, it gave people a chance to pause, and I think we all need to pause and think. Mama G was with us, and she made a very important point. She says, Melissa did our revolution for us. And she made the point that, you know, Jamaica, certainly in the West, is destroyed, and that's what happens when you have a revolution. Things are destroyed. And the most important thing is really, how do you build back?
Yes.
And how do you build back better? Right?
And how do you preserve the people's dignity? Because I think this is critical in all of this, as you look at what they're trying to do in Sierra Leone by even covering up some of the things.
A very important, we saw the list of why the Civil War. I don't know if you have it offhand, and you know, you could.
I don't have it offhand. Let me see, Mama G did send it to me.
I think it was there in that WhatsApp group where all of these things that you know, we are concerned with now was in fact the reasons for the war.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was an observation that that Mama G made. She said, all these things that was the reason. And by the way, this was the reasons were determined by the commission. They set up a commission to investigate what happened. You know, why did this war take place in the first place? And it was there. It was very evident. And so again,
but the point to underscore on that, Prof, is that the reasons are also very, very familiar to us. Some of the reasons there are familiar to us.
Yes, of course. I mean, there were things like corruption. There were things like youth unemployment. You know, bad governance. You know,
injustice generally. Injustice. Sorry, no, I'm just saying. Sorry to laugh at that, but injustice generally. We can identify.
In fact, I found the list. I just go through it very quickly.
Go ahead. Yes.
Bad governance was the first one. Right?
Yes.
Injustice, political intimidation, political violence, youth marginalization, youth unemployment, uneven distribution.
Hamilton, she is the honorary consul, Sierra Leone's honorary consul to Jamaica, Jamaica's honorary consul to Sierra Leone, let me turn it right. And we are just coming from Sierra Leone, where a new, a not so new opportunity has opened up, and Sierra Leone says they are the gateway, Prof, to Africa for the African diaspora. For us in Jamaica, that makes a lot of sense because we got there and recognized that we, of all the African countries that I've been to, I don't know about you can talk for yourself in a little while, Sierra Leoneans are more like us, or most like us, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, our presence in Freetown once we landed there, once we got there, 1800, from Nova Scotia, was impactful. We saw that place where one of the Maroons literally burned down the place.
Mm-hmm.
There were all kinds of problems, and literally just decide, it was going to burn down the place.
Yes.
But there was like a central market. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the name of the individual.
Is it Jimmy?
Yes, I think it was
Jimmy.
Jonathan or something. I don't remember.
I think of Jimmy.
But
yes.
So our presence was very dominant, and we physically shaped some of the institutional arrangement. Obviously, the church. We went to that Maroon church, which was really a center of not just religious expression, but cultural expression for the Maroons once they got there, and the whole evolution of a Creole people and a Creole language came out of that experience.
And we have to spell this for our listeners. It's K-R-I-O. Before you're right when we're saying Creole. We're not saying Creole. It's
Creole.
K-R-I-O.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you listen, although we don't speak it, we could understand it.
Every word of
it. Yes, just listening. Once you listen, you heard a few French words in there. They say beaucoup pitney. Beaucoup is French for many. And of course, picnic, we know what picnic is, If they have many children, beaucoup pikin, So they'd say things like that you could pick up.
What I found is that I could have a conversation with any Sierra Leonean in Creole. As I said, do not talk no English, and I'm not going to talk no English on here. We're talking Creole. And we laugh and talk through that. And it's pretty interesting because when you go to other African countries, especially West Africa, because of colonization and all of that, and the colonization of the tongue, to the colonizing of the tongue, there are a whole lot of different languages that you really can't tap into at all, close to us. But anyway, so here we are with the Creole, and we really, really, really had. For me, it was easier to maneuver through Sierra Leone because there wasn't that. Because we were talking the same language.
Yeah. And the people, you could see very similarity, in who we are, warm, friendly, you see some aggression. Every time I saw it, I said, boy, that's the Nigerian in us.
Yeah, look there. Yes.
And of course, some laid back kind of experiences and so on. Yeah. So it's an interesting mix.
Yeah. I know one of the highlights also was a visit to Bunce Island. I'm kind of rushing.
Island.
Yeah, because we don't have much time. That's why I'm rushing through. But I know that was a highlight.
Yes.
Mama G's going to come on. She'll talk some more about it. But that was quite something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And that's Sierra Leone's equivalent to the slave castles in
the dungeons.
Those dungeons
in Ghana,
in Ghana and other places, right? So it was, of course, a very spiritual experience, just a reminder that our foreparents could have come through through that particular island. Very, very possible. Many of us ancestors would have come there.
Of course, one of the things. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now, one of the things that happened, we talk about the music already, but we had superstars there from Jamaica. We can talk about that quickly because Sizzler was there.
Yes, of course. We had Sizzler, of course, Chris Martin. We had Africa and, Queen Africa. And there are other Jamaican artists there. Lucan.
Makeda.
Sorry, yes.
all of this was really, that stage show was brilliant, you know. To exhort that when the light go away, and I know Chris Martin don't want to spend a whole lot of time to talk about, you know, the malfunctioning of the stage. I know that he's resting up, and I know he's not performing at a show that he's scheduled to perform at this weekend, I think.
Yes.
But that he doesn't want to spend a lot of time.
Yeah,
right. But when you take that out, I mean, it was really a great evening.
It was amazing. I mean, I heard there's someone who made the comment that they've, for example, seen Sizzler perform many times, but they felt it was his best performance.
Oh, really?
Yes, someone made that comment to me, and I can understand, because this was a very spiritual and significant journey for him.
Yes.
And so
it was an excellent performance, really.
Yes, it was very much. I think all the performers, you know, Queen Africa stepped up and she, you know, really laid it. I mean, Chris was very good. It was amazing. Yeah. And I think for us who know these performers, we've seen them, and we can expect this kind of level of performance. I think for the Sierra Leoneans, they were kind of blown away.
Yes. Because
they've really never seen and experienced this.
With 30 seconds of what next, and just give you a little chance to wrap this.
Well, you know, we've invited the Sierra Leoneans to come to Jamaica for Reggae Month. So
I'm applauding here.
Yes. So we expect them here in February, and so we definitely want to give them a Jamaican treat when they come.
And they're going to be here. Do we know when in February yet?
Well, we expect the first week in February, early February.
Okay.
And you know, we hope, you know, to have that kind of exchange. We're hoping to see some fashion. We're hoping the Australian fashion, of course, the music. Yeah. I'm awaiting the confirmation both from the minister as well as the ambassador in terms of their presence. And so if they do come, you know, it would be a high-level delegation that will come and really experience our reggae month.
All right, so we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that, and we'll talk to you many, many times before that. Thank you so much, Prof. We're totally out of time. I should talk to you about the Alaska Foundation and the hurricane relief. I know that that is on. Can you take 5 seconds? Oh, no, we don't have it. Sorry. We have to go to... I'll call you back. All
right, no problem. All the very best.
Okay,
yes,
all right. Let me see. I think we have Cashbot coming up. It is now 8:30 here. Finish up a little bit on the whole Sierra Leone experience, and then to go to the Alaska Foundation and the hurricane relief project that they have underway. Prof, thank you so much for coming back.
Yes, thanks as usual for having me.
Yeah. The entire Jamaican delegation, what was the number to Sierra Leone?
You know, I'm not sure I actually have the actual number. I know it was around 50, because the bands came both with Sizzler and Chris Martin.
Yes.
And, of course, other personnel. And from my side, in terms of the consulate, we had taken 9 persons.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I know it's over 40.
It's really a large contingent, because when you look at the band on stage, I was so proud of the bands on stage, you know, Firehouse and, you know, really good. And what I liked about the stage show is when Queen Africa, this was a local band that she performed with, and then she did something brilliant, which was to stop and introduce every single member of the band and make them introduce themselves and play them instrument. Can you imagine the impact of that in Sierra Leone when we're gone? I thought that was so thoughtful of her.
Yes, definitely.
Right, so if people who want to go next year, what should they do now?
Save from now.
Start
because
saving.
You definitely want shopping money. I know a lot of persons who went shopping and said, "Oh my gosh, I wanted to get some more stuff."
I'm putting up my hand. I'm saying, me, teacher, because I want you to put a shopping day on the schedule, teacher.
Yes.
Like a full shopping day.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
But yes, well, this is the first of its kind that was organized. So I can't say I know the specifics of what next year would look like, but I know they do want to do this again next year.
Right. So that if you have an interest, go ahead and start saving.
Yes, absolutely. That's the first point. And then, of course, as we get details, we certainly will share it with you, of course, and of course your listeners.
Yeah. What's the general cost? Because we're not saying it's going to be the same thing next year. But if you're thinking of traveling to Sierra Leone, just airfare alone.
Yes, I think the lowest we got was close to $2,000 from Jamaica to Sierra Leone via the U.S. and Brussels. Right? That's the lowest.
Right.
That fare went up to $4,000 2 days before we left.
Wow. So it doubled.
So the idea, of course, is to book early.
Yes.
Because if you book early, you could get it, I would say, around 2,000. Right? And then the on-the-ground cost is not very expensive.
Yes.
But one would have to, calculate for, accommodation. Right. Yes. And local transport and, of course,
and meals.
I'm not sure if this time they will facilitate the transport, and they might, because, again, it depends on the numbers, you know.
Yes,
like people are all over the place and it's difficult. But if you're in specific location, then they may organize the tours and pick you up and stuff like that. So those details we work out. But usually in these things, the biggest cost is the airfare.
Yeah.
And I think if you can, work towards airfare somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000, then I think that's safe.
You're on your way. Accommodation is another thing, but you'll hear much more. But that's just to give you an idea while you're saving. It is. I know I can literally hear listeners saying this to go back to Africa. How do we go back this way? But it is what it is at the moment.
Right, of course. Unfortunately, we still going through countries where we need visa. But again, we never know what's possible in a year. There's been a lot of talk about direct flights.
Yes.
And so it may be possible to organize direct flights.
Yeah, well, let's see. We see Barbados doing that. Maybe we should try... No, but it doesn't go to Sierra Leone. I'm thinking that if you go Barbados and then take that direct flight, but I think it's Ghana that they go to.
They do Ghana. Well, again, we should explore all of that, because from Ghana to Sierra Leone is very
right, exactly. Because I had my friends in Ghana, literally across me off say, "You're there, Sierra Leone, you're not coming here, so."
Yes, not very far. Yeah,
but we still don't have no money if you come there. I mean, hey. Let me take a quick break, Rose.
All right, good.
So much is happening on the ground, and we were in like 6 different mines in traveling in the aftermath of the hurricane. As I remember talking to you, and just the conflict there, whether to go or not to go, but that everything was already done in terms of spending and so on. So we went on that, but even while you were there and before you go, you have been working seriously on hurricane relief through and with the Alaska Foundation. Talk to us about what that is.
Yes, what I should say, just to create a link between the two, what we're talking about for Sierra Leone and the relief effort, is that one of the things that came out of the tour, as you know, is that the minister had announced that 20% of the net proceeds of the event would go to the hurricane military relief effort. So we're really, really very pleased with that. We've not yet had any more details. I expect we'll get something in writing soon. So from our perspective of the Lascochin Foundation, we have been focusing on immediate relief, not just food packages, but also packages that are focused on the needs of women and children. And so those 2 sets of packages are basic food packages and packages that have sanitary napkins and stuff for the items for children, are parts of the packages that we've rolled out. And in fact, to date, we have packaged and in the process of packaging 17,000 packages that we have been able to distribute with the help of partners, several partners.
Yeah.
I should say that we kind of worked through the approach to responding to the hurricane from last year with Hurricane Beryl. And we had designed a kind of 3-phase approach. And the first phase would be this rapid relief, mobilizing our partners, the churches, diaspora organizations, community organizations. And together, we, were able to deliver 5,800 packages in the first week.
Wow.
Now, I want to just mention some of those partners because, we value our partnership with the JWN Foundation, and several foundations, VM Foundation, Sandal Foundation. Operation Save Jamaica is an important church group that we work with, and the New Testament Church of God. We also had other foundations like Supreme Ventures and so on. So several of these, and of course corporate individuals, organizations came together. For example, BCIC provided a big order of packages and stuff. And so what we've done is not just help them to put these packages together and in some cases facilitated delivery, but we also are in the process of partnering to go beyond in our second phase, working with businesses to rebuild their businesses. So that's where we are now. We're talking a lot with the, we're working, for example, with the Sandals Foundation in trying to get not just resupplies to the shops. Some of the shops, of course, are completely blown down. So we bring in building materials and literally getting bundles of materials. Don's Hardware has really put together a nice bundle of, zinc and ply and, nails and everything. And so we're going to try to get some of those bundles out this week and help them to physically put up even temporary structures, because we see all of this as temporary. In the final analysis, the real solution, of course, is some concrete structures that are more permanent and able to withstand hurricane. But we know the importance of rebuilding livelihoods and getting income into the homes of micro and small businesses who, without selling, can't feed their families. They have no income.
Yeah.
And so,
what's the damage? And I know this is your expertise, micro and small businesses. Just looking at that, what's the damage we're looking at with micro and small businesses on the back?
I've not seen the data that gives us a sense of the scale of destruction, but it's very obvious when we go to these affected communities, and you literally see it. These businesses just flattened. I mean, many of them, of course, as you know, are wooden structures. And so, and even those that have concrete structures, you saw the roof gone, and in some cases, the physical concrete structure collapsing. So we know that it has been extensive damage to this micro and small business community. So we've been focusing on that in our phase 2 to restore and rebuild livelihoods. And we have been working with partners who are willing to work with us, working with the church in our phase 2, and as I said, with Sandals Foundation and other organizations who are working directly with businesses, trying to help them. One of the groups that we've been working with is the Guardian newspaper in the UK. As you know, that they are doing a kind of, what do you call it? I'm not sure how they call their project, but sorry?
No, I noticed that they have done quite a few exposés, but I didn't realize that there was so much involved on the island, but apparently...
Yeah, they're actually involved. They're actually involved in the rebuilding effort as well. So part of their whole, reparation type of initiative.
Oh, that's it. Okay, it's a reparations. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so they're doing work in Hanover. So we've been collaborating with them on that, getting packages to people, helping them to rebuild the businesses there. In that community, it's a small community called Success. And, and they're like, all the businesses have been destroyed. And one or two of them are up, and we've been helping those that are up to just strengthen their capacity, and then we're going to get on with the face to try to help them. So it's been very, very traumatic, not just for the people involved. Obviously, nothing comes close to their own trauma. But to all of us who are trying to help, because it's a lot of work, but also it takes an emotional toll. Because as much as you're doing, and I keep thinking as much as you're doing, it feels like just a drop in the bucket.
I know.
It just doesn't feel like it's making a dent.
And that is
but we continue to try.
Is because even when you talk about what you're doing with the small businesses and also with mothers and children, I think that is critical in this process. I don't think we're focusing enough just as a nation on the micro and small businesses. So to hear you foregrounding that. I'm really happy to hear that, because you're talking about, I was thinking of if the human body, when you think about the micro and small businesses, I said that was a brain, but I thought, no, that's a stomach, of Jamaica, the micro and small businesses.
That's the backbone of our economy.
Well, there you go, backbone.
Yeah, I mean, that's what keeps economies alive in communities across Jamaica.
Yes, backbone.
And so we understand the important role, for example, of some of the business hubs. There are businesses that are the lifeblood of other businesses and other community activity. In fact, one of the things we noticed, we went up about a week or two after in that same Success area, and right there in the business was the hub and the life of the community. People gathered there, they were playing dominoes, their music, and so on and so on. So the businesses are more than just businesses. These communities, right? They really are the lifeblood. They bring the communities together. And so, in fact, during the hurricane, some of these shops were, in fact, shelters. I don't know if you recall, we saw it on television, where a bar.
Well, we never have no TV because Mama said we get it down here, so but I know because we experience that, we see that in our region.
So one of the things we're doing is we're not just trying to restock the businesses and also provide the repair material, but we're also particularly looking at the cook shop because we know there's a lot of effort in now with the World Central Kitchen and others doing important work, just trying to get hot meals to people, but they won't stay forever. We know that. And so we've been doing a lot of work to try to get the cook shops up and running in many communities. And we have cooking utensils for them as well. And and as well as supplies to just cook and not just build back their business, but also to help the communities. Many of them do that anyway, under normal circumstances. They help, they make sure that old woman that lives in a corner that doesn't have anybody taking care of her gets a cup of soup every day, And so we understand that kind of community dynamic, and so we make sure that those shops get built. And beyond that, by the way, I want to say that we're not just handing these things and leaving, but we want to ensure over time we monitor, we call. We literally went in, settle, go in, do motivational sessions, help them to keep going, deal with some of the psychological issues, psychosocial issues as best we can, including with professionals and so on. And just generally to give them that longer term support.
Holistic intervention. So, Puff, you have written, you're also concerned about how what Hurricane Melissa has revealed in terms of how government is structured, and you've written a very enlightening article, a letter to the newspaper, which was published as Letter of the Day on Sunday, November 23, where you say Hurricane Melissa's catastrophic Category 5 assault has ravaged Jamaica, laying bare yet again the fragility of an overly centralized system of government. And you continue by, as we confront the worst hurricane disaster in our history, we must assess whether our current structure of government can protect lives in an era of frequent and increasingly severe hurricanes. I want you to just we talk about that for about 5 minutes, but or 10. Let me just ask Mama G to hold for me because she's to be on at 9. I take a quick break and have you respond to that, Roz. Honorary Consul to Sierra Leone, and now we have moved into other discussion topics that are not necessarily connected to Sierra Leone. But Prof, yes, to the article the letter you wrote, it was Publisher's Letter of the Day, November 23. The question then you have posed is to how the discussions on constitutional reform and the extent to which it should include this idea of centralization of government.
Yes, I think the most important point to make is that constitutional reform is about the sharing of power. An important part of this discussion is that. And so too often we've been talking about other things, head of state, we're talking about the courts and so on, but we miss this core idea if we want to become a republic, this idea of the ownership of the country by the people, the sovereignty of the people. And it must translate to people having a say in the decisions that affect their lives. It boils down to that. And Melissa makes it very clear, if we look carefully, that in the absence of our capacity to make decisions to protect ourselves before, during, and after a hurricane is a life and death issue. Mm-hmm. And that power must be in our hands.
Yes.
It can no longer be centralized. People have died as a consequence of the arrangements that we have in place and our inability to properly address the needs of our people. And this is not to blame anyone. This is a structure we've inherited since our independence. Mm-hmm. And we've chosen not to change it.
Yes.
And I think it is time.
And this lies at the heart of constitutional reform, you say?
Absolutely must. Mm-hmm. And from my perspective, it entails two very important things. One, we have to think about communities' rights. We have to think about empowering communities by giving them rights, the rights to have a say in how, for example, they protect themselves in a hurricane, on the one hand. And secondly, we have to strengthen and empower local government. Mm. The mayors and councillors have been speaking loudly ever since this hurricane, Melissa. Yes. They have no voice. They too have no voice. Yes. They have no resources. They have no capacity to help the people that they know need help. Mm. They are the ones. And I want to go back up to the communities. Remember, during the hurricane, the first responders were our neighbors. Mm-hmm. Not the government, not the people giving care packages, not anybody else other than our neighbors. These are the people who know your group next door blow off and they welcome you in their homes and so on and so on. That's what happened. The first day after, the capacity to eat and so on came from your neighbors. Mm-hmm. So
to clear the roads? I mean, it was weird.
Clear the roads, absolutely. Yeah. The machetes came out, the chainsaws came out, everything that the community had came out to clear the roads. And I remember, I'll never forget, the vivid image I saw of a woman on the television one day said, listen, we go as far as we can. We can't do no more. We need one bulldozer. That's all we need. And that bulldozer is the difference between life or death of elderly people who need to move to get medicine, a pregnant woman who needs to get to a hospital very easily, a child that's injured that needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. One bulldozer. Yes. And therefore the capacity of a community to solve that with resources, with power, is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
And how might decentralization, what will it look like? How might that hold up that how that would have changed?
Well, ultimately, it means having resources in the hands of the locality, managed in a way that community members have access to. It involves things like having a fair and equitable share of the national development budget. Mm-hmm. Right? If we're concerned about development of every aspect of our community, not just Kingston and St. Andrew and the capitals, but we're concerned about development of people in the rural parts of Jamaica, then we must consider having access to a fair and equitable share. Everyone should have the same access to these development dollars, right?
Yes, go ahead.
And of course, it gets into much more details about whether and how we get, for example, an elected Senate that can wade in on the use of these equitable resources to give everyone a fair shot at the development outcomes. So there are lots of other things.
I know this is definitely a conversation I'd like to continue with you, Professor Hamilton. So let's do that. For many, constitutional reform seems to be a thing of the past. We're not hearing much about it. You've brought it back into the public discourse, and in the way that you have done on the back, understanding that we need this change because of the experience that we are currently going through. This is something that is underway right now. A lot of what you've pinpointed is stuff that we're experiencing right now.
Yes, and I wanted to preempt the idea that we are focused on Melissa. Constitutional change is not important. It exactly is. And it is directly linked to the Melissa experience.
Of course.
And that's the point I want Jamaicans to understand, that this lack of capacity to make decisions at the local level is a big part of the problem in our rebuilding efforts.
Professor Rosalie Hamilton, you know, when we talk, we could go on forever, but it is worth it, though. This conversation is something that is one that we should have. I'll definitely be calling you up again on this, and I know that you're not just leaving it here with an article and interviews. So we look forward to see.
Absolutely, thank you so much for having. Always a pleasure talking with you.
All right, Professor Rosalie Hamilton, there, Honorary Counsel to Sierra Leone. She led the delegation, the Jamaican delegation to Sierra Leone, and oh boy, oh girl, what a beautiful time we had on the continent of Africa. We couldn't keep ourselves quiet. When we were coming down, when we entered the plane and looked through the plane window, I'm sorry for who never there a window seat, but like me who did a window seat, I looked over, and it's the first country me ever come landing over, looking at it and see so much rivers. So I had to Google later on if Sierra Leone is a country with the most river in the world. But apparently it isn't. But it was just beautiful. And I had to shout Mama G. I said, Mama G. And me I looked for her across the plane. And, you know, it was quite something, because I wanted to say to her, we've known each other for so long. And I wanted to say to her, we're dear Africa. We're home. You know, we're home. And this is a kind of feeling. When I came in this morning, my sister Talia asked me, when you go to Africa, how do you feel when you're landing? How do you feel? And she said, I know it's enough time, but how you feel? Mr. Talia, it's a very good question now, because every time I go, I feel the same way. Like I am home, and it's the same feeling of just having survived, and in the name of my ancestors and ancestral land, and, you know, just going back home on a spiritual journey. These are the kinds of feelings that I get, and I felt it just landing in Sierra Leone 2 weeks ago. Mama G is going to join us on the phone lines right after this break. And sisters, and we're appealing to you to give generously to the IRFM 11 Cocoa Relief Drive. People in affected areas urgently need rice, flour, sugar, cornmeal, non-perishable food items such as oats or crackers, any kind of biscuit, canned food, sardines, mackerel, tin stuff, you know how that go, tarpaulin, solar lights, battery or solar powered radios. Personal hygiene products are also welcomed. Drop your donations here at IRFM at Coconut Grove, St. Anne, or at 1B Courtney Walsh Drive in Kingston. We will get your donation to those who really need it. A small donation from you will make a big impact on someone's life. The IRFM 1-1 Cocoa Relief Drive. Let's get Jamaica back on its feet quickly and make things airy again. We do not need any more clothes. Remember that. We need what we just itemized a while ago. And thanks. Special shout out to some of our donors. David James, Froggy, Runwood Boss, Irie Muma, Walker Cousins, Irie Spring Water, Kimmy the Crocs Goddess, Althea Hewitt, Jamaica Funk Production, Claude Evans, and so many others who are donating to IRFM's 1-1 Cocoa Relief Drive. Gonna go to the phone lines now where my sister is standing by. Mama G, Gamma Gloria Sims, Gamma Gloria, Mama G. Welcome. How you doing, sister? Kwaba.
Good morning. Good morning, Mama. And to
I wonder if we have
IRFM running African family.
sound like we have a little bad connection.
This morning.
How you doing after the pilgrimage to Sierra Leone, to Africa?
I am here. I'm giving thanks. I'm coming back to myself because it's such a amazing journey, was such a powerful journey, one that took me back in time,
What was your first thought? Cause me know say me probably interrupt your thought just as we were going over, cause me shouting for you, just as we were landing. But what was your first thought when you finally landed in Sierra Leone?
It was very, 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 very touching to know that I was walking on the style. I really make it into Africa, walking on the style and stepping in the footsteps of my ancestors was so real to me and so touching to me, And it's like, I'm still trying to find a word that would sum it up all, but I can't find a word.
Until you find it, I'll tell you. Yes, please, when I find it, sure. Because
really right now is just amazing and what our ancestors, the memory and the connection and how powerful they are even in this time, because they were the architect and the old ones behind this journey going in. And some of them, Sister Andrea, is that not the first that have been offered this position and earn it and work for it to go into Africa. But it seems like I couldn't go through any other port but through this very port that my ancestor. And it was touching to realize that I was actually walking in the footsteps of my ancestors,
Yeah, and that's critical because I will talk to us about that and help our listeners to understand that you're literally you're talking bloodline literally.
Yes. It's actually net back bloodline family with features looking just like those here. I met Michael Carroll, the head of the elder for the family there.
Yeah.
And we also have a Michael Carroll from same area, Morristown, and they look so similar, and it was very touching to me to see that,
Yes.
And the way they embraced me, it was just like if you had left home for a long while and the family don't see you. They came and they embraced me, and then they called me on the phone when we were hooked up by a sister after I finished the march and come out, and they were talking about the document, the video that the brother has done when I just come in, and they hear the name Carol mentioned and they were talking about it. Never realized that I was actually speaking to a sister who is a Carol also. So she said, I can link you with them, and so she sent them my number and they phone me on the phone and tell me that this is my Carol, and he addressed me as Cousin Gloria. And it was very touching when they speak to me, and then he said his other brother wants to come with him to visit me, and if I would permit him to come. I said, of course. And both of them came.
Yes.
And they embraced me, they hugged me.
I saw that.
Really,
I was taking pictures.
They realized, yes, I had returned. It was like,
yes,
these people are my uncle, my grandfather. I could feel that energy, and it was so touching, you know.
Yes. Take us through your time there, and what were the highlights of the mission of the pilgrimage for you?
That was one of the highlights of meeting them. Another highlight was I having a vision the Monday night when I go in. I vision a tree fall down as I stay in a area that I didn't know the area, but it was across the road. And it was a young cotton tree. And when they find that was the Monday night, we came in, that was going into the Monday. I came in the Sunday night and I began it the Monday night. So I wake up and I was telling everyone I dream this dream, so it was very profound, you know. And I know when I get a special dream that carry a message. So
yes.
The night after that, I couldn't sleep. I didn't never sleep the whole night.
Yes.
You know, the Spirit was on me and like giving me a message through the same dream. And I was like what they see in the Bible. Nebuchadnezzar, I just troubled over this dream. I was up until 3 in the morning, even though we had a function to go. And because our itinerary, as you know, Mama Kabu was very tight, you know.
Yes.
So I didn't sleep the night. So when I finally go through meditation and research to see why a tree would fall, what is the significance of it in this time, what message, you know, the language of the Spirit, you know, was sending to me, you know. And so I came upon the fact that it wasn't a fruit tree and it had fallen. No, I know the history of the cotton tree where they made that in the year 2022, I did a symposium with them over there in Sierra Leone and Zoom. And it was the same time that half of the cotton tree just fall down. That's the cotton tree that they said the story all began when they came into Freetown. And that cotton tree standing right in front of the Maroon Church that they dismantled the ship that bring them there, use the boat and wood from it to build this church. And they also took the bell from it. This is the bell at the front of the church still ringing today.
Yes.
So,
and all of that are physical evidence.
When I go to the tree today and look down in the street, I could recognize the location that I saw in my dream, a place that I never been before. And the tree root was fall. Was in the east corner, but I didn't know if it was the east. So I asked her sister, I said, look, what side of the tree does the sun rise? And she showed me the same space that the root of the tree that I saw falling down was in. So that's the space that I poured the libation, you know. And then the Spirit come to me and tell me that this tree is not really a fruit tree, but I was to plant a fruit tree. So I called Brother Manta and I asked him if he could get a fruit tree, a suckling, a seedling, and not a young plant. And he said he would ask a Rasta man, and he phoned me back and said, yes, there's that fruit tree, a pear tree, and a mango tree. And I asked even the minister, you know, of a space to plant it. But because they were so busy with the event, they couldn't come up with that space. But Sunday morning when I was going to Bounce Island, the Spirit said you must put the seed there. And so I took it there and we planted it with the brother that keep the island. You know, there's a caretaker because nobody live on Bounce Island. So it's a historical place with a lot of historical monuments and stories that connect us. And the Gullah Geechee people from South Carolina, a strong history and Jamaican
Gullah Geechee,
in the history. And it's a history that can really, if you're not strong, it can make you feel like you're weak in your belly when you listen to some stories and narratives that they are telling you. And at the same time, it gives you the strength of resilience to go on at the same time. You know, a very touching story. And as you know, history is what teaches us lessons from the past and about success, failure, and it will identity. So the history there is very touching, and when you go there, the history here from where they come from, in like Flagstaff area, Marinetown, start to make sense of the journey that they took. And you realize that there were a group of Maroon that took that journey, not just for Flagstaff, but for the whole Maroon and for the whole Jamaica. Because Sierra Leone is now embracing the whole Jamaica and all the retention there. And they said they share heritage and they're connected. And when you see them dance in the reggae music and you see them sing it, you feel like you are in Jamaica listening to.
That is quite true. Sometimes you totally forget.
Dancing the same rhythm.
Yes.
You can know that they have really made it a part of them. You know, they are a part of this that we carry. Yes. And it's so touching. It's like they are so different. It's like I don't think there's another space in Africa that really would connect us the way, you know, this connect. Because they speak the patois. You know, I'm in the hotel and I hear a lady talking to another one, and I could recognize her say, chaka chaka. I said, chaka chaka? I said, what does it mean here? And she said, when something is off. I said, when something is disorganized and untidy, she said, yes. I said, same word, we use it like that. Her parents would use it to us when they want us to clean up our room.
And you know, and poto, you hear poto a lot, poto. Although you hear that in Ghana also, poto.
You know, we would say little, they say small.
Yes.
You know, and it is so close to us and so connected, you know. And in this time, what history can do. Sometimes we dwell in the past, but history is something you revisit in the present,
exactly.
The past, to pull from it, to correct mistakes you make, to go on. And this history that we have here is a stepping, using our ancestors' injury and their struggle.
Phenomenal.
You know, like
hold the line for me, Mama G. Don't hang up. Hold the line. Pilgrimage through the gates of Sierra Leone, through the doors of return. And it was a spiritual journey for you, Mama G. I witnessed that. I was with you most of the ways. I witnessed that when we weren't together. I was watching you as the One Nation Reggae Festival and others. Posted what you were doing on social media. How did you come to be on this trip? How did you learn about it? And because you said before, so many times, you know, trips have come up to Africa, but this was the one.
So many trips, yes. My ancestors as a guide is very powerful, because even when I wanted so much to move, things wasn't flowing. And, you know, it was even in the middle of Melissa, everything was flowing for me to go to this trip, you know. Even till now, when I was invited into Ghana by Woody Maya, they waited and they called again to find out what date I want them to buy the ticket, and things was not flowing at the time. So when I see this come up, I started, you know, I was really taken back. I said, whoa, the ancestor making this trip flow is like because I've been working on project. I work on the remains with Sister Minnie and Phillips, and we were to go with her, and it didn't happen.
Right.
And all these things. So it's a long time that I've done work, and things have been happening for me to go to Ghana, but that, and it's like, go on the continent, I added to go to Sierra Leone. Now I feel like I'm ready. Even now I even get like a more itinerary of what my trip would be like, you know, at Ghana now. So it's like that trip now started flow. Now that I've been through this place. This journey is very mystical. And you know, you have to can read the language of the spirit to understand what is happening at times, you know.
I think, Mama G, I think I'll see you in Mayala a few times.
Yeah, a few times, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Take over. Even when I went
even at the stage show.
To give thanks to Mother Earth, the spirit started to take over, you know, but I try to contain and get myself under control, because you have to control the spirit you walk with it, and just going, you know, and doing all the things that sometimes the spirit would say, and, you know, people will go off uncontrollably in the spirit. So I try to control.
Your man, it was neatly controlled. But me see you.
Yeah, man, I go off.
Yes,
Even when I was moved to go on the stage to dance at the event and the beach, after like the pre-party after the launch and
yes.
6 weeks ago, I didn't even know that would be a dancing session. And that after I come off, it was like I was opening the stage for the Sierra Leone dance, national dance group, you know, and it was like, so look at those things. I'm just available for the ancestors in moments when they want to use me, and sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I really don't want to do it, but then when I do it, I'm happy I do it because I see the manifestation, you know, within. And I'm just led, and I'm a vessel, you know, for the medium, like a medium for the spirit. So sometimes things happening, I myself might know why. You know, so sometimes people ask me why and I can't even answer. I'm just obedient to the spirit that I travel with. And my spirit guide, I know their voice. I know when they say move, and I move in that direction. So, yes, we did get to plant a tree. Yes. I presumptuously had taken a little soil from Flagstaff here where they were from. Yes. And I could put it with the soil over there and plant a tree that will grow. And as it goes, there will be more unification and more, you know, coming together, and people will remember, you know, that ancestral intelligence will open up. And that is our AI. Ancestral intelligence will open up. Things we forget and guide and lead us in the right direction, because that is what is to be done now.
Exactly.
You know,
what kind of tree?
Sierra Leone is one of the banned countries, and the history that Sierra Leone share with the south part of America, the Gullah-Gigi history, is a B-O-N-D, and then now in this time you see a B-A-N, you know, it's like you're spelling the word ban. You know, we already have a band that cannot be broken, because history, monument, sites, people and culture cannot be erased. And when we hear the history in Sierra Leone connected with South, the Gullah-Gigi people, they and the Maroon was who helped to found Freetown. So they play a significant part there in America, and it's history that can benefit the whole society, because I tell you, this one nation show that we do is a visionary thing, and it's something that is going to grow, and it's going to make Sierra Leone be the unique place where every tribe come together as one. All the tribes that sometimes fight against each other find unity in Freetown. And that is the message we want to spread to the wider Africa. Look at Sierra Leone. It has all the tribes of Africa that was shipped out and came back in as Maroon. Maroon is not one people. They are people of different tribes. What made them one was their position, their situation.
And that's why we say African.
And we are the new African.
Yeah, and even we ourselves have to begin to correct
Africa,
to say Africans. Yeah.
Strength in this peace, and because we're closing an era, you know, and we're going into a new era. Yes. You can look at the nine of us go 225 years, add up to 1917 years, and this year is 225, which is the next 9 add up. 9 is the number of completion, ending and beginning, and next year number 1, we're going into the festival now.
I want to take some time. Thank you so much, Mama G. And let me take some time to big up Mama Queen Mother Yeyefine, who's listening to you right now, who also said that in a libation she did.
She got Jamaica, there is hope.
Yes.
All the ones them that feeling hopeless, there is hope. And even though sometimes we don't like this, what the Almighty has done to bring it, but this what we are going through Jamaica, I come back, I leave the trees them looking like fall in Jamaica, which I never see. Pure forest without leaf. When I come back, there's leaves growing on the tree. So it seems like we will have a double spring this year, because we're going into spring soon, and the trees are springing already. So
you are so right.
I happen to see winter turn to spring in Jamaica.
Thank you so much. Good. Thank you so much, Gamma Gloria Sims. Thank you so much, Mama G. Next time you're coming out of the studio, but we know how things are. So we talk soon. All right, Mama G there. And I'm telling you, it really was, as you hear her saying there, it was a spiritual journey. And she talked about the numbers and so on. You know, we were heading out to one of the events, and we felt this was going to be another spiritual connection, because we were going into the areas where the Africans who were sent back to libation and brought us back to the number one. Thank you so much, Mama G. Thank you so much, Queen Mother Yefine Efunbolade, for being there like that at that time. You know, another thing that was really, for me, an experience that's out of this world, and it was just a stage show we're talking about now, is these performances from these Jamaicans, you know, Queen Africa, Sizzler, Chris Martin, Makeda, and we talk about Sister Makeda many times. It's a young sister who got an interesting slot between Chris Martin and Queen, and did exceptionally well. I'm going to invite her to come in the studio and have a conversation with her, because that kind of fortitude, me don't know which part it come from, because I don't know if me do it, but she came out, and are you talking about 12,000, 13,000 people, and the place packed, jam-packed, and she came out and she did her thing. Queen Africa, when, I don't know, I said to Queen, I met her, we traveled on the same ferry, because, you know, from the mainland to the airport, you travel by ferry. That's also another thing we're not even talk about yet, because all that is highly something out of this world. I cannot even, we don't find the words yet, but we'll come back and tell you the words when we find them. And so we were on the same ferry, Queen Africa and ourselves, and I said, Queen, who tell you to start with war? Because she started with that song War, and within the context that Professor Hamilton talked about earlier, about the Peace Center and what had happened there and so on. That song resonated with the people. Listen, I'm a journalist, you know. I've been covering stage shows all of my life, from Mayor Picnic until now. And I know when a song hit and resonate, and I haven't seen anything like that in a while. Now, another thing is the crowd. The crowd that rush like a mighty wind to the stage. I don't know where those people came from. When Queen Africa started War and got in at it, I have also, the closest thing I've seen anything like that is when I saw, what's his name, perform, the son of fella Femi Kuti. I saw Femi Kuti perform, and that was the same kind of vibe. And that was also in Africa. But I started fretting for myself, like, me I look for an exit, because me I say, it looked like a stampede, but people are moving to the stage with determination. But remember, I said, no space until they, no space until if nobody move. But they're moving. And I think everybody when me look into from Jamaica look scared. Everybody eyes like wide open, like, what's going to happen here? But they were just trying to get to her. And she was majestic. Her gown was majestic. Her head wrap was majestic. And we see Queen Africa perform all the while too. But Africa was, Sierra Leone was something else. For Sizzler, for Queen Africa, for Christopher Martin. And I think this is why Christopher Martin is also downplaying the incident on stage, because everything else was so wholesome and brilliant, and people were just eating out of his hand. Let me tell you something. Sizzler now is a whole different kettle of tea in Sierra Leone, because him can't walk the street. I don't know how he's going to manage, but him cannot walk the street because the youth, and I think Sizzler understands the assignment, because the youth he's got, I remember enough people in Africa, 8 million people in Sierra Leone, and they call like the 8 million of them back at Sizzler. But I am telling you, slight exaggeration, but when Sizzler moves, the youth move with him. So I know, because I heard him on stage, and I see him otherwise. And when he was leaving, we met at the airport when he was leaving, and what he said to me told me that he understands that he has a purpose in Sierra Leone. He understands the assignment. That's the most I can say. So, Dada, you know, it's a spiritual job. It's a spiritual thing. So that's that. I will leave that there. But it was, listen, man, enough to come next year. May I tell you, wow. Thank you so much, Professor Rosalie Hamilton. Thank you so much for, through the government of Sierra Leone, for facilitating IRFM's presence. I would not have missed this for anything. And we know while we were there that we couldn't get through to some of our people back in Jamaica. And we were checking the internet all the while to see if light come back here so or light come back there so. And Sierra Leone was saying, we are doing a fundraiser. This is 20% of this is going to Jamaica. So all the time we're consciously aware of what was happening on the island and still presently, spiritually in the space that was created. We too, as I said to Sizzler, must understand what that means for us, the purpose of it all. You know? But I could talk all day. So to the entire team, thank you so much. Dwayne, I hope I'm going to left out nobody's name now. Dwayne, Diana, Makeda, Courtney, Dwight, Nia, that's my own daughter, I may almost forget this. Nia, Mama G, and thanks so, and Akane. Is it Akane? There's a brother who performed from the Jamaican delegation, and also a Firehouse crew and the bands from Jamaica. King, the manager of Christopher Martin, and all of you, thank you so much. See where we're going now, and I left off people's name. Luke and I, Jatonda, you name it. A brother from Trinidad who came over to me and said, I'm from Trinidad, my sister. And he gave a great performance on stage also. I can't remember everybody's name now. But this was really, really an exciting, fulfilling, satisfying, brilliant, beautiful, excellent, spiritual, deeply fulfilling pilgrimage to the continent of Africa through the doors opened through Sierra Leone. So I have quite a few other things to do. So let me do this and see if we can get this out right now. Okay. When a music not cue up, that is what happens. When you're not supposed to take no break and no music no cue up, this is what happens. But don't worry, we're playing this one from YouTube, so we have to skip all the ads. Thank you so much, Dr. Devon Taylor. And it's not your fault, actually, because you did send me the... Okay, still under threat. And this has heightened. So there is now a very busy week in court. And Jabem wants to remind us that Little Duns River Court Day is tomorrow, Monday, December 8 at 10 a.m. in St. Anne's Bay, at the St. Anne's Bay Courthouse. Miami Bay Beach in the Court of Appeals on Tuesday, December 9 at 2:30 p.m. That's the Court of Appeals in Kingston. And Bob Marley Beach, Wednesday, December 10 a.m., Sutton Street Court in Kingston. And Blue Lagoon, Friday, December 12, 10 a.m., Portland Parish Court, Port Antonio. Listen now. This is how Jamaican people are fighting for access and for the rights to land and water. This is basically, if you just strip it down. Just the right. This is a human right to water and to land that we are being denied. And so Jabem, on behalf of the people of Jamaica, taking the government of Jamaica to court, and the government of Jamaica turning up in court in some of these cases, defending itself. It's a government against the people in court. Now, this is one for the history books. Remember these times. The government against the people. Forms. Check that out. Thank you so much, my brother, Chuckleberry. 7 minutes now, going up to 10 o'clock. The Big A comes in at 10 with these Sundays, as usual. Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you to you for listening, as usual. Thank you so much to our telephone operator, receptionist, and in-studio producer, Khadija. Thank you so much, Khadija. Good job for responding in the way that you have been responding to this program. Let me just say that I'm receiving an overwhelming amount, but it's good overwhelming, you know, of confirmations to do this series of programs on King James I. I mean, an overwhelming amount of confirmations coming in. And if you want to hear, go ahead. We still don't mind if it's even more overwhelming, because I have to be convinced to do it, you know. Look who is here. Look who come. Look, you know, you cannot hug me because I have a clean microphone. I have flu. So high five.
Where you get flu from?
High five-ish. High five-ish. Just pretend so you're high five me. High five-ish. Let's see your gift. No. You cannot just. You can't just drop the box in the beginning. You have to kind of take up the thing. You mean after me go through all I want me go through, Biggie?
No, I'm going to.
Are you a Taurian?
I am going to investigate. Just give me a second.
Oh, because you know how we roll with Taurians.
I'm official Gladstone, not a Gladys, but a Gladstone.
Okay, Gladstone. So. Well, you go do it. What is it? What I miss now? Kadisha, what did I miss? Let the circle be unbroken. What did I miss? What I miss? Oh, it's not me. That's Big A's file. But if I don't work yet. You know, about 4 more minutes. What do I want me? Look at them. Anyway, it's nice. If you help me pack up, I mean, it'll be good. All right. So Mr. Big A, did you watch it, the P. Diddy documentary? I'm just asking.
I have seen it. I haven't watched it yet. And I hear
then what am I going to talk to you about this morning?
Launching a serious protest and want them to remove it.
It's too late to remove. Everybody see it already. It's number 1 in the world.
No, yeah, I know. I just didn't have the time to get to it. But
I mean, I'm watching this and I'm thinking about you, because
quite a scathing documentary it would seem.
I mean, if Innocent did very well, I must say. You know, people are saying that he's petty, and that kind of petty is a low petty, but it's also a good petty. But if you recall, I'm gonna tell you something.
Getting some petty cash, I can tell you.
Petty cash.
You know, somebody's certainly getting some petty cash.
Somebody getting some petty cash, you know. So I watched it, and you know, even though I never feel so well, I watch it, and boy, you know, it is as we who grew up with Tupac have always thought. Cause you know me, a Tupac girl. I mean, it is what it is. I don't even know Biggie Smalls like I know Tupac, right? Mm-hmm. So I have always been very vigilant about justice for Tupac. And we still don't get justice for Tupac, you know.
No, I can't wait to match you.
But from Keefe D to P. Diddy to now, I think that it won't be long now. And I think that I'll live to see justice for Tupac. This is just where I think that it's just Tupac. You know, and I probably shouldn't say that because there's just so much more in terms of what he did to women and so on. So that's there. We've talked about that over and over again. So that is, you know, that's, I know that you got it, right?
Yes.
He got it. You know? So when I saw it, I looked at it and I said, I know one person who would get this. Right. And Nia confirmed it. She said, yes, he will get it. Big A will get it. So there you go. Right.
I'll definitely have a special place for this.
There you go.
In my residence.
Exactly. And you can, I don't know how you're going to carry a little bag, but I don't know how you're going to carry a little bag, but you know, it is what it is. So there you go, Biggs. That's it for me. I would like to say that it was a brilliant time, and as I told you, the stage show was really great. Everything was good.
The whole morning I hear you talking about it. The little pieces I caught of you.
What a wicked person. But which pieces you catch?
No, Sizzler understanding the assignment and.
You know, just a while ago, I said that. You know, I listened to none. I just said that a while ago. You know, but it's true. Him understand the assignment. No, big game. Which artist? Well, maybe Bob. The crowd when Sizzler moved through Sierra Leone. No, this is not an understatement. You know, the whole of Sierra Leone moved with him, especially the youth. I'm not talking about youth. You know, I'm talking about 9 to 17. Youth. I'm probably 19. I mean, like so. I don't know how him do it. If you walk with Sizzler, you may as well just shift. Because the minute him step out in the public, you are likely to get crushed. It is, have you witnessed that? Have you ever witnessed that?
Maybe not in the magnitude of which you speak, but I remember.
You know, but I want the microphone.
I remember when Beenie Man went to Kenya. They went right in at the height of the Sim Simmer hit. There was also that kind of euphoria. A 20 vehicle entourage motorcade through the streets, and then that was, you know, complemented by people in the streets, droves and droves of people. So I don't want to compare, but I know he had that kind of a following down in Kenya.
Right, so he didn't do the motorcade because him is a different, he's a Rasta man. Right, Beenie, you're a Rasta. All right, so
I didn't say that, Beenie.
I mean, so my husband don't know, so I can say it. But a Sizzler, as a Rasta man, a Bobo Rasta man, walk through with him head wrap and him dapper suits, kind of dapper all the time, you know. Yeah, and him have hundreds, a whole heap of people. You have to just move out of the way and make it happen. I mean, anywhere and go. You know, I talk just, you know, I mean, anywhere.
Right.
And there's another thing, is that they know all his songs. Like when him take the stage,
that would be a natural succession. That would be the precursor to his stardom.
Yes. And then Queen Africa, Daddy Don't Touch Me There is an anthem in Sierra Leone. I never saw that. They do not understand it, and I can tell you this.
Right.
It's singer, the launch of the product, the launch of the event, the Minister of Culture, everybody dancing to it, and it is, I mean, all the church people, I mean, that is not the church people of sing it. It's just that, you know, so they don't understand it. And I'm saying, what is it about that they do not understand? You know, and somebody has said maybe culturally, you know, it's kind of different. I don't know, but it is an anthem, like One Love, that kind of anthem. Like, so when I sing it on the stage, nobody not left when I sing. I mean, just say that to you. 13,000 people were at the venue. So that's something. And then Christopher Martin. No, it's not often that I see Chris Martin perform, but I've seen him over the years, especially early days. Right. And so I was pleasantly surprised.
I have watched his trajectory, and I'm also very pleased as to the rise from this little kid from Rising Star to this star.
Yes. Superstar.
Right.
He carries that on stage. He
He has developed exponentially.
Yes.
And you know, I don't know where he got his training, if it is in the streets or it is a direct project where he underwent you know, stagecraft and that kind of thing. It manifests itself like that with a certain level of professionalism. And and
I know you've been watching him, especially in the early days, because I know you were the one who kept saying Dayuta.
Yes.
You remember?
Yeah, man.
Right.
Of course.
So
both him and
Romain Virgo.
Yeah, man.
I must say, you've got an eye and an ear for the stars. You always pick them right. You ever pick wrong yet?
Yes.
Ooh.
We can't tell you right now. But Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I
Brilliant.
yeah, no, man. There is no perfect person. I've picked a couple of wrong ones, and
Which wrong one?
a lot of the times, it is not me who wrong, or the artists themselves wrong.
No, look at them, man.
Them have the stardom and fling it away.
All right, me gone. So, this is how we say goodbye for today. It's 4 minutes after 10 o'clock. You hear that though? And he said, about the perfect, but you were just a while ago. We're making way for the big A inside of the Sunday Sunshine. What should I do, Mr. Big A? Should I